At Mobile World Congress in Barcelona this year, the conversation has definitely shifted. For years, the spotlight was on smartphones and consumer devices. In 2026, focus has moved deeper to the infrastructure powering artificial intelligence. Huawei used the event to argue that AI cannot scale on legacy telecom networks, unveiling new optical foundation upgrades and cloud platforms. At the same time, operators from South Korea to Japan are advancing plans for sovereign AI infrastructure. The message is becoming crystal clear. Telecom companies increasingly want to power the networks that AI will depend on. Mobile World Congress has always offered a glimpse of where communications technology is heading. And of course, joining us today to shed a lot more light on the said topic is our brilliant Sanjana Gupta. How are you doing? Welcome to Front Page.
Good. Thank you.
Pleasure
Thanks
as
for the
always.
invitation.
Yes, as always, pleasure having you and having a conversation with you. So let's start, Sanjana, with the fact that, as I just mentioned, it's a big deal and it's taking place in Barcelona.
Yes.
What do you feel has been the impact, especially this year around, of the MWC?
I think, as you very rightly mentioned, MWC is more about telecom operators, and your traditional telecom operators are now sort of moving into a shift towards AI infrastructure and changing the way networking is overall looked at by the industry. There's a much wider portfolio of different, use case based solutions that they're providing, from AI models to agentic AI to AI infra and a lot more. So the portfolio is expanding to more than just networking.
Sure.
So that is a bigger shift you can definitely see at the Mobile Congress. And I think one company that stands out with the numerous amount of developments is Huawei, as you very rightly mentioned.
But I didn't pronounce it correctly, but thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. So Huawei brought out a wide series of developments at the summit, and they are sort of moving into a shift towards a futuristic networking space, and not just looking at 5G, but looking at how there can be AI integrated networks as a scope going forward.
Fair. Tell me this, Sanjana, as you just mentioned, as far as the shift towards AI of the telecom industry is concerned, how will it impact, for example, our AI startups, or for that matter, the companies which are just coming into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting take to look at, because essentially, if our telecom operators are moving into this new space, then what happens to our currently residing players in the space? Well, there's a lot of players that obviously require networking solutions throughout their functions. So for these companies to be moving into an AI integrated space would make a lot of difference. And considering we're talking about Huawei, let's say their recent developments, they've mentioned a lot around providing like wider bandwidth, lesser latency in their networking operations, which could be very beneficial to AI startups and companies working into this space. And
so you foresee a synergy of sorts, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Not sort of replacing anybody, but a synergy sort of going forward from different sectors in the industry. And maybe to give you some specific figures, Huawei talked about bringing 400 to 800 gigabit per second upgrades in their networking solutions, as well as latency tiers of 1, 3, and 5 milliseconds, which is a bigger upgrade as compared to what they usually provide. So in looking at this overall, AI inference demands that are there, networking solutions would definitely help out propagating that much better. And I think another interesting point that was mentioned by one of the senior leaders of Huawei at the conference. So he mentioned that the company is moving into this space where they're putting this concept of AI for networking and networking for AI, by which he's essentially meaning that they're making AI in such a way that it can help networks, so basically AI integrated networks, but networks also have to evolve so that they can incorporate AI, models or agents. So it's essentially a loop that they're bringing in, where this helps that, but also in turn that helps this. So I think that's a very interesting take to look at.
It truly is. But talking about that loop, and maybe just furthering my point, you had just mentioned that there will be a synergy. But let's say, moving forward, I mean, hypothetically, I'm just wanting to understand from you. Let's say these telecom operators start to move into infrastructure, or for that matter, the AI hardware.
Which they already are kind of.
In a big way, right? But now let's say they really start to pivot and start to scale up. Do you think that it will challenge the hyperscalers, or for that matter, the chip makers? And will it who do you feel will become indispensable, if at all, let's say that happens?
So, as I mentioned, the synergy aspect, I think taking forward from there, I feel both of them are working in very different, what do you call it, tiers
Sure.
of tiers of
Expertise.
like expertise when we look at manufacturing or AI infrastructure as a larger sense. So your regular chip makers would be working in the AI infrastructure when we look at chip making and these chips that are powering your AI models and so other things. But networking is more of looking at infrastructure for networking,
Yep.
which can further coupled along with AI chips provide better AI experiences.
Fair point.
So I wouldn't say that the telecom operators might become a big challenge to your traditional
Hyperscaler
AI
or a chip maker.
hyperscalers or chip makers. They definitely have the technical expertise, but coupled along with telecom operators upgrading themselves to AI integrated workflows and AI integrated networking, that might really add on to what larger ecosystem we're looking at. And considering right now, we, as in, for example, in India, live in a world where there are regions that still don't have access to 5G.
True.
Or 4G is also quite patchy in areas.
Yeah.
So
I know, I live in those areas.
Yeah. So I guess when we push forward from that, fixing those, ground level issues, and then going to AI integrated networks, which will move much beyond just 5G. And that's what I think Huawei as a company is looking forward to as a futuristic outlook into networking.
In terms of time and scale, Sanjana, I mean, obviously, if let's say we just talk about India for that matter, as you just mentioned, how much time do you feel that this would take to be, let's say, seamless? Point one. Also, how do you feel this sort of a development will impact, let's say, a lot of the other sectors, a lot of the other areas of industry?
I feel it's very different when you look at different countries. You're asking me for India, and as I mentioned, we have much basic issues than AI integration at the point.
Yeah.
So I feel from what I have seen in and read about, I think those issues need to be fixed first before our telecom operators like Jio, Airtel, Idea, etc., can think about AI integrated workflows. But let's say in a world where India has those basic issues
perfect
fixed.
utopian world, yeah.
Where those issues are fixed, like our potholes.
That's not
maybe I think that could really impact the larger AI space that India is working towards. We are working towards more domestic chip manufacturing, supply, and data centers as a bigger issue that still remains, for which we have to also mitigate our energy and water supplies. I think a much smoother networking experience in that sense would really help out in terms of the larger ecosystem. So I don't think I'd be able to comment on the type
But honestly,
time
if you
it might
ask me,
take. But
I really wish that the government can take cognizance of both. And maybe try to work them parallelly, because I feel that will have a way bigger impact.
Definitely, and those will fix basic issues. Like for example, if a semiconductor manufacturing plant is located, most of them are located in not in the main cities, right? They're located in, let's say, for example, even Sanand in Gujarat or Dholera in Gujarat. Those are like off the chart places. Imagine if better networking, better roads, better infrastructure from like a physical sense as well as networking sense could be improved, then what that could do for these plants.
Absolutely, it could be.
Yeah, these are different tiers of infrastructure, essentially networking infrastructure as well as ground level infrastructure.
Fair point. Okay, now of course, coming back to NWC, I believe there were some very interesting and exciting announcements that were made. There were some physical AI aspects as well,
So
some models.
I think maybe I would say one thing that went viral in terms of physical AI developments at the Mobile Congress was around this company called Honor. They used to be a subdivision of Huawei earlier, but in 2020 they sort of started out as an independent company.
That's an honorable thing.
Well, so they launched a robot smartphone.
Right.
It basically is a smartphone which has a robotic small equipment attached at the top of it.
Okay.
And it can do lots of automated features like AI video calling, movement, head shakes, nods.
Why?
And I am personally, if you ask me, I prefer my regular smartphone because I mean it's easier to put in the pocket. But
Yeah, it'd
I
be very
guess they're
strange
targeting,
having a robot in your pocket.
I guess they're targeting more of like a different market in that sense. They're also providing a much wider range of functions than just nodding in terms
I
of.
would hope so.
So there's like a robot grade kind of motion sensing, and like you know how Apple devices have that you keep your device and
Correct,
then the
correct.
camera might just like follow you around, but this is like a much advanced level of that. So I mean I wouldn't mind using it if I was at home
Yeah, but
just
that's
with my
it.
phone. Yeah. But that is one side of it. So I think that particular invention went pretty viral when
Sure.
it was announced at the summit. And just to imagine a robotic smartphone kind of made an impact in the industry. Additionally, they also launched their first humanoid robot as a
Nice.
company. So I think the humanoid robotic space is also shifting quite a bit, considering it has entered the
Correct.
World Mobile Congress now, which used to be all about just telecom operators. So that is changing. This is their first attempt into humanoid robots, and going forward, they will essentially, I think, look at home integrations. But right now, it's more of like enterprise level or specific application-based
Fair point.
deployment.
Fair point.
But yeah, I think the physical AI space is quite exciting, and it's entering all levels of and tiers of the AI space and the bubble.
Fabulous.
So I think that's quite good.
Fabulous. There, as always, Sanjana always gets excited when it comes down to humanoids or robotics and things like that. Please follow Sanjana on the AIM magazine. Her articles are fascinating, the Analytics India magazine, where she does take deep takes on deep tech, robotics, and a lot more. And as always, Sanjana, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
here with us
Wonderful
on
being here
Front
as
Page.
always.
And this is our front page take on the MWC. This year, the message is that the future of telecom may lie not just in connecting people, but in building the networks, computing power, and infrastructure that artificial intelligence will depend on. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, think AI.
Think
Think maybe that robo. Think AIM.